Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And I brought my Melody Beatty meditation books up here, but I did not bring my phone, so I'm not really sure what the date is, but I'm almost positive that it's May 21st. Is it May 21st? I feel like it is. I'm like trying to go back and be like, okay, dates. Where am I at on the dates? But anyway, I got so many really nice comments in the last, I mean, I always do over here, and I just want to say I'm so incredibly grateful for it. I got a couple comments, or several comments in the last couple days of you guys like thanking me. You know, like, oh, Peter, you always know exactly what I need to hear at the time that you say it and whatever. I just want to say I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Often it just comes from like, you know, an inspiration that I found, or it's the quote for the day. So it's not me necessarily picking a topic. Like I always say, if there is a specific topic that you want me to talk about or address or just share some personal experience about, please put it in the comment section below. I love to find your comments. Or even if you're, like a lot of people have done this in the past, if you're not comfortable leaving a comment about a specific situation, just, you can DM me or even email me and say, could you really talk about this and share with me why you want me to talk about it? And just say, hey, just the top part, just ignore, just reference this. Please don't say my name, or you can use my name, whatever. Just let me know. And I will talk about it. I don't have to read the comment. I don't have to read the email. I can just make a video about that topic. People have asked me in the past to be like, can you make a video about recovery in this? Or can you make a video about recovery in that? Or whatever, or grief and loss or sadness. And you know, it was interesting in talking about the topic that I talked about yesterday about being sad and being allowed to feel your feelings. And I got just such amazing comments from people that were saying that they'd either been struggling with that or they were going through that. And actually it was interesting because it turned into a conversation that I had with my best friend Tanya last night. We talked about it like at length, about this idea that people are not comfortable when we feel raw emotions like sadness or pain or loss, right? And so they attempt to take those feelings away from us. They do that. It's not because they don't care about us, and it's not because they don't love us. It's because they don't want to see us in pain. They don't want to see us hurt. I think sometimes, you know, I wanted to make this clear in my video that I did yesterday. I allow myself to sit in sadness. I allow myself to sit in pain and hurt, right? And sometimes even anger. I just don't want to stay stuck there, like the meditation said. Like, I don't want to stay stuck there for hours or days on end. That's why I allow myself to have moments where I feel those things. If they come over me, if I need to feel them, they're there. It's a feeling. I'm feeling them for a reason, right? Like, there's a reason why it's coming through my mind, and not to ignore it. And I have learned through the years that ignoring appropriate feelings or authentic feelings and emotions just pushes it down, and then they come out later. I think we all know that, right? And so Tanya and I were talking last night about, you know, the idea that people don't really say to us, it's going to be okay, like when they do that coddling thing like I was talking about yesterday, you know, it's going to be okay, don't worry about it, things are going to get better. They don't say that to us because they don't, I mean, you know, there's a lot of people that be like, don't be sad, don't cry, and that do see it as weakness. I've encountered a few people like that in my life that are like, you know, like man up, which I hate that saying, right? But there's a few people that I've met in my life that have said some things like that. But I think by and large, most people say it to us because they don't want to see somebody that they love in pain, right? I think an appropriate response in that moment is like, I understand that you really care about me and you love me. I just, for the moment right now, I need to just be sad. And that's okay. And I don't want you to worry about me. And just alleviate them of that, you know? I think I've always thought that just to tell somebody exactly where we're at is the best thing. It's honestly like one of the things that has probably saved communication between me and my husband, you know? At times, like when we were working through really tough stuff, one of the things that we learned in marriage counseling was that, like, if one of us wants to have a conversation with the other person, and it's not like we're not in the space to have it because we know we're just gonna like get heated or whatever, or we're tired, like Alex comes home from work and he's very tired, like coming right through the door is not the moment that he wants to have that conversation. And so he'll say to me, hey babe, can you let me rest for an hour and then we can talk about this later. We don't even have to have those conversations today, but back in the day when we were working on it, we did, right? And it's just about communicating with somebody and saying, this is where I'm at, this is how I feel, I just want you to know, right? And then saying, and where are you at today? How do you feel, right? But when somebody's patting our back, you don't have to shrug it off, get off me, you know, let me be sad. You don't have to say that. You can say, hey, listen, I appreciate your support, I just need to be sad for a moment. Give me a half an hour, I'll be fine, right? And I think that can be helpful. So let's get into some meditation. But I just want to say thank you so much for the comments yesterday in the video. Okay, let's get into today's meditation. Let's look. Well, I'll know when I look on here because yesterday was the one that was sad. Sadness, May 20th. So today is the 21st. Getting needs met. Oh, this will be interesting. Okay, getting needs met. I want to change careers. I need a friend. I'm ready to be in a relationship. Regularly, we become aware of new needs. We may need to change our behavior with our children. We may need a new couch, love and nurturing, a dollar, or help. Don't be afraid to recognize a want or need. The birth of a want or need, the temporary frustration from acknowledging a need before it's met, is the start of the cycle of receiving what we want. We follow this by letting go, then receiving that which we want and need. Identifying our needs is preparation for good things to come. Acknowledging our needs means we are being prepared and drawn to that which will meet them. We can have faith to stand in that place in between. Today I will let go of my belief that my needs never get met. I will acknowledge my wants and needs, then turn them over to my higher power. My higher power cares sometimes about the silliest, or the universe, about the silliest little things if I do. My wants and needs are not an accident. God created me and all my desires. So I'm going to go in kind of a weird direction for this video. I'm going to talk about paying off debt and budget. Okay, I've talked about this actually on other channels of mine, but there was a period of my life where I had a huge amount of debt to pay off, and did, and read the Dave Ramsey books and all that kind of stuff, all the financial books, and snowballed my debt and paid it off myself. It's probably one of the things other than, like, I'm not proud of the fact that I incurred all this debt, one of my proudest moments is paying off all this debt and living completely debt-free today. It's one of the greatest things that ever happened to me, and what I had to learn that moment was not to recreate debt as well, right? But one of the things that happened, and I can do a full video about that if somebody wants to know about all that and how I did all that. I read the Dave Ramsey book, Total Money Makeover, and did what Dave said, and it worked, is what happened. But one of the things that came as a result of that, and I can't remember where I heard it at this time. It wasn't from Dave Ramsey, I don't think. It was from somewhere else. Maybe it was just like a meditation or whatever. But it was this idea between wants and needs, right? And I think it's interesting this meditation is about this, and basically saying, like, don't ignore your needs and your wants and whatever, and they're valid too. And I think that's true, you know? I think it's true that we want relationships with people. I think it's true that we want a house, or we want this, or we want that, right? Like, I think that is all true. And I think there comes a time when you have to define the difference between your wants and your needs, right? What is a want and what is a need? Need to me is I have to have water to survive. I have to have food to survive. But past that, the things we take for granted are the things that are on my gratitude list every night, like good health. There are a lot of people that do not have good health today. An extra day to be here alive. Family to talk to and have as support, friends. When I started talking about my friendship with my friend Tanya on YouTube, people would say to me, I've never had a friend in my life like that. I wish I did. And it really, like, shifted my whole perspective of my friendship with Tanya. I was like, oh wow, like, there are people out there that have never had a close friend like this, right? Like, how grateful I should be for that friendship. And, but everything, even a roof over my head, like, I don't know, I see things in a different perspective. But I can remember at that time, speaking of Tanya, we would go to, like, Walmart or Meijer at like 2 o'clock in the morning, get a fountain pop and go over there. And we would walk around, and I would go in for something like deodorant, and I would come out with like 4 candles later, some coffee, this, that, and I'd spend $100. And I would do that like 3 or 4 nights a week. Well, $100, 3 or 4 nights a week adds up to, $300 to $400 a week. I wouldn't do this every week, but it'd be $300 or $400 a week. And that stuff would sit at home, and I would never use it, And it led me to, now today what I do is every month I set a certain amount of money aside to spend on things that I want to spend them on. And then if I don't spend that amount of money that month, it rolls over to the next month and then the next month. And I can tell you, I never spend the amount of money that I set over because it's rolled over so much. There have been full months where, I know, like, on my Peter Does Stuff channel, I'm doing hauls all the time, but there's been full months, like in the past, where I haven't spent really anything at all or bought anything. And those have rolled over and rolled over and rolled over to the point where at the end of the year, like, I write myself like a check and take out the rest of the money that's in there, and put it into a savings account. But that's been really, good for me. And at that time, when I started, like, working on my debt, I would go with Tanya to Walmart or Meijer. And I can remember, like, somebody said, I don't remember where I heard it, but when you pick up something, I think it might have been from that book. No, because that book came out after that about cleaning your closets. I didn't love that book. But anyway, maybe it did, but that idea, but I think that book came out afterwards. But when you see something that you want, you pick it up and you hold it in your hand, right? Because that was where she was like, get rid of it or keep it. That's not where it came from. I can't remember where it came from. But anyway, but it's the idea of like, you hold this pair of glasses and you're like, is this a want or is this a need? Like, do I need this or do I want this? And it's okay to get it if you want it, but just acknowledge the difference between a want and a need. I can remember literally going to Meijer with Tanya and picking up like a stick of deodorant and being like, is this a want or is this, I mean, I would think it in my head, I wouldn't say it out loud, but being like, is this a want or a need? No, I need a stick of deodorant. Well, maybe I don't need 3 sticks of deodorant. Well, it's on sale. Okay, that's probably good. But I would like work it through in my head, right? I can remember one time, Tanya and I, there was this bracelet maker thing that I wanted. It was like those woven bracelets that, like, back in the day, it was like a Grateful Dead thing. Now everybody has them. But anyway, there was like this weaver that was in the craft section at Meijer, and I wanted it. And I remember I looked at this thing for like weeks on end, and I'd pick it up. I'd be like, no, this is a want. This isn't a need. It was like literally like $9.99 or $19.99, right? And I would not buy this thing for weeks on end. And finally, I bought it. It's in my basement. I've never used it. I won't get rid of it because it's just a symbol of the difference between wants and needs. I think it's an important question to ask ourselves in life. You know, what's a want and what's a need? I remember back in the day, not being very aware of, you know, my mother not having been in a relationship for a long time. And my mom and I were watching, I've referenced this a lot, we were watching an episode of Jerry Springer, and there was like these 2 men fighting for this woman. And I was like, she got these 2 men that want her, and I can't even find one. And my mom looked at me and she said, none of us are promised a partner or a mate in life. If you find it once, you're lucky, you're blessed. But none of us are promised that in life. And I can remember going home that night and thinking to myself, you know, I've had like 4 or 5 boyfriends in the last couple years, and my mom hasn't. This was, you know, back in the day. This was like when we first got sober. And my mom, like, hasn't dated anybody in forever. You know, we would talk about that, about how she wanted to be in a relationship, but she didn't want a man telling her, like, when to go to bed and stuff like that. And so I think, you know, like, I'm grateful for all these experiences I had. And I think sometimes it's a differentiating between what is a need and what is a want, and knowing the difference and leading with that. And it's really helped me a lot in my life. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.